Hello and welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. My name is Chuck, and in this episode, we're going to take a deeper dive into the new Goweil expansion and take a look at the LT Master F115 stationary baler, which you see right in front of you right now. So, this stationary baler is like the Vero V140 that I did the quick look on, or the first look on, in my other video where I did TMR, but I wanted to see some of the other things that this could do. So it can also do chaff and cut sugar beets. And so I've never really dealt with cut sugar beets a ton. So I went through the process of starting a new save, and in this new save, finding a sugar beet field. I found this one here and harvesting it, which took a while. And I also, let me just switch to my map. This will be easier. I also, so this was a sugar beet field, number 11, and 12 was actually a corn field. So I did corn silage on 12. It was pretty small, but we made it work. So I did a little bit of corn silage and a bit of sugar beets is basically where we're at with this one. And I want to kind of talk through those processes with you. So first of all, the chaff worked just fine. I used a forage harvester to get that corn out in November. And I got exactly 25 bales, and it's here. You can see it says chaff, 3,500 liters, and it's fermenting. It's at 40%, 43%, 41%. So all of these were essentially chaff that I got from using a forage harvester over there on that cornfield. And it's really no different than the process I'm going to show you now. So I didn't record any footage of it. I just got it out of the way so I could start on the sugar beet cuts, which is what we've got here. So this baler, you obviously can load the whatever you're going to be baling into the back here. It also does hay, grass, and straw. The grass is wrapped into silage as well. And then the hay and the straw are not wrapped. So I'm not going to mess around with those. We're not going to do TMR because I did that in the other video, but we did chaff just to see it, and it's down there fermenting, and we're doing sugar beet cuts here. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of grass at the end of the video just to see how that works as well. It should probably come out and wrap it as silage just like this. Again, it's a stationary baler. So in order to use it, you have to have it kind of put it where you want it, and then you can't really move it around. It has to be attached to a tractor in order to run. And as you can see here, it can hold 20,000 liters in the back and a 3,500 liter bale in the baler. And then the wraps on the front, and also in the little, what do you call it? I'm going to turn on my tractor first. And then we're going to turn on the baler here in a second. And in the little window that you can see there, it says I've made 70 bales overall, 10 since I reset the counter. So there's a control where you can reset the counter, and I just wanted to play around with that. So the E, or the sum on the right hand number, is overall bales made by this machine. And if you wanted to count your silage bales or count your chaff bales versus your sugar beet cut, you could do that. As you can see, it's got an area or message that says the area is blocked by another object right now that's on there. That's because it spits out one bale, and then it drops, but you have to remove it in order for it to drop the next one. And again, I've got this front loader here with the arms. Let me show so that you can use to grab it. You'd obviously want to use these rather than the bale spikes, because you don't want to puncture a wrapped bale before it's done fermenting or anything like that. But I find that it's easier to use a bale loader like this Anderson bale loader here we have here that holds 24 bales total, and it's got this fork that comes down. So I've lined this up so that I can essentially just automatically pick up that bale, and then it will bring the fork back down and pick up the next bale as well, and then it will spit out a new one here. And then I'm actually going to lift the forks back up, and I'll show you why in a second. Oops, wanted to show you that. All right, so it spit out the bale. It's now wrapping that bale, and as you can see, those numbers are running now because it's putting more sugar beet cut, and then it's going to drop it right there. And then as soon as this one's done, the 3,500 liters, it will spit out the next one and wrap it. And as you can see, there's sugar beet cut from back here that was going up the conveyor. It stopped because the bale was full here and it doesn't want to take any more. There it goes. Yep, you can see it coming up the conveyor belt there. So how do you get the sugar beet cuts in the back, you might ask? And again, this is not going to go down until we pick up this, but that's okay because we've gotten, of the 20,000 liters, now we've taken almost 7,000 out of it. So that gives us some room. So over here in my tractor, you can use this bucket. There's only one bucket that I'm aware of in the base game that will make sugar beet cut. It is this one. Hopefully I got that muted in time. Sorry about that. Had a sneeze come out of nowhere. This bucket here, and it can hold, it's a Flegel, it can hold like 2,300 liters of sugar beets, and you can either scoop them off the ground or you can load right into them. I've got a conveyor system set up. I was dumping them on the ground. Let me just show you over here. There's still some on the ground, but then they're getting loaded in the conveyor system, and there's probably 20 to 30,000 liters worth of sugar beets sitting in the conveyor right now, to be honest. It was a pretty big pile a second ago. But you can pull under here with this bucket, and then the conveyor system will load that into the bucket, and I'm pretty sure it's 2,300 liters. And it's going to pick up anything that's on the other end of that conveyor belt system and put it into here. And then you can take this and you can turn on the front loader tool, and it will cut that sugar beet straight into the bin there. And you can turn that back off. And if you get it lined up correctly, which, oh, I guess maybe I don't have that much on the ground there. I could dump more, but we're going to come back to that in a second. And you can cut that, and that basically runs into the baler. And then again, it's not going to process anymore until I jump over here and get back in the front loader and then trigger this fork to come down again. And I do want to make sure we get 24 bales out of this, but I want to make sure we don't fill it up so that we can get to some grass bales as well. And so it dumps that. We're going to grab this. But if the fork is down like this, it's not going to roll that wrapped bale down because it's blocking where it can unload with the fork. So I have to put the fork up and then take the fork down. So as you can see, it's stuck. As soon as I pick the fork up, then it's going to drop that off. This is the best I've been able to get. I haven't found a spot where I can actually make it just automatically pick everything. I've tried repeatedly, but we're just kind of stuck here. That's going to be the 24th one that's wrapping now. So let me get, as soon as that's done, I'm going to trigger this. It's going to pick this up, and the timing's right. I usually do two at once. So one, and then by the time we pick that one, the second one rolls down, we pick it up. Here's our full 24. It's going to put the fork back down, but I'm going to pick it back up and then move this out of the way. Now this front loader is not great turning radius wise, but I need my two other tractors because I need the one with the bucket. Whoops. And right into that. Yeah, turning radius is not great when hooked up to a front loader. But so we're going to come back to this here in a second. This is going to keep running. I do want to get that out of there. Let me get... So I'm trying to get all the sugar beets out. All the sugar beet cut out of here. So let me actually take this, and I'm going to roll this out of the way just so I don't shoot any more in there. So if you don't want to use a conveyor system, there's a couple different ways you can load it. Let's see, I don't have anything in the bucket here. You can obviously just scoop it off the ground, and so that would be one of the things, would be to take this, and you can just take the bucket when you're not cutting with it and just scoop it straight off the ground like so. And I have sugar beets everywhere because I dumped hundreds of thousands of liters into this area. So there's my 2,300, and you can obviously just take that over there and cut it over there, or you can drop it. I'm just going to drop this here at the conveyor just to make sure it can pick it up. So that's one way to do it. another way, and you normally would want to wait on the back of this. In fact, I will, yep, there's a little bit of a pile of sugar beets here. Or you can actually cut it and then load it into a tipper, like this tipper here. So this Brantner tipper, I have sugar beet cuts in the back. You can back this up. You can cut it separately and then scoop it into this Brantner or any tipper, and then back that up if you don't want to cut over the stationary baler. But that is how I would do it as well. The third option that you have is you can actually just pull right underneath, and this is the sugar beet harvester. So if you pull up right under here, you can actually just have them spit straight into the bucket like this, and then you can cut them onto the ground like so. I'm going to have to cut the rest of this tank full in order to scoop them. And there you go. So it's 2,300. If I turn that off, then I can actually basically just scoop it back up. And you want to wait on the back. This is why I'm leaving the trailer attached for now, because you'll see it gets very unstable when you've got that much sugar beet cut in there. So it's the exact same amount that I had originally. I'm going to lower this, detach from that, and then just bring this around. If you try to drive with it high, the weight really throws it off. You can see it's almost tipping right there. So if you're going to do a lot of traveling with the bucket, I would get a weight. I don't have one because I wanted to hook up to all these trailers, but then you can just dump that right back into the trailer, and then you can use this to dump in. So before we had this stationary baler, the way that you would store sugar beet cut is in a trailer like this, and then wait till the right harvest time to go ahead and drop that off. Now this gives you an option for storing them as bales until you want to sell them, usually in December or January, and I will show you where you can sell that in just a moment. I'm actually going to take this and load up the rest here and just show you kind of the process I've been doing. I don't think this will quite empty out this giant baler. And let me just switch to the baler real quick and turn it off. Number one, so I rented this. This is leased. This field wasn't that big on the map. I mean, it is a field. This is the Haute Belleron base map. It's a decent sized field, but it's certainly not the biggest that's out there. This field, I just leased this because I was just doing sugar beets once to check. And look, this has 2.9, almost 3 hours of runtime on it. Sugar beets take forever to harvest. So, and they also give you a ton. As you can see, this bottom corner of the field here, let me get back, has withered. I basically spent all day on like ×1 or ×2 harvesting, just to end up not getting everything done because it was super dark, and I forgot that I had cut that little corner off to make it turn around easier, because I'd put all my equipment down here and I was having trouble turning around. So then basically you would come over here and just force load or force unload your tipper right here on the ground near wherever your conveyor is, or wherever you want, just to get it out of the way. And then you would use the bucket to scoop that into either the trailer or directly into the stationary baler. So that is how that works. Let me switch back to this real quick, because I want to get the rest of these bales out of here so I can show you the next thing. Oh, let me get around that. So I find obviously the bale trailer, which is base game, works really well to get those bales out. So we're just going to come over here. We're just going to set this down. And we're going to move these out of the way real quick. Is a much more efficient way, but you can certainly do it with the front loader one at a time like this. You're you're needing multiple pieces of equipment to run. Obviously, one for the bucket to shred the sugar beets, another one to the tractor that is running this has basically just been attached to this thing the whole time, and all it's doing is running that baler. Oops, missed that one. Right, and I think that is it. Because what I wanted to show you, see if I can stack this. Huzzah. Nope, didn't work. Anyway, so now there is 700 liters left, and it's all inside the baler. So that is sugar beet cut. As you can see, it's labeled on the bottom. I want to see what happens if we mix a different material in. When I did it before, I had chaff, and then I started sugar beet cuts, and I've been doing that for a while. But it just made me one more chaff bale, but I think that's because I was over 50%. So I want to test that out with you guys. So one of the things that I did also, I said we were going to do grass. So let me come up here. You can see around this field, this cornfield that I've done 2 laps with this front mower on the front and this forage wagon on the back, and I got at least 7,000 liters so that I could do 2 bales of grass, because I want to get at least 1 grass bale in case the first one comes out as sugar beet cut, and so we can have 1 silage bale that's grass and just see the difference there. So you can use a forage wagon like this. Obviously you wouldn't want to bale it, can I fit through here? You would not want to bale it ahead of time with a baler and then wrap it. The DLC did have bale wrappers, but this is the one we're testing out, which is a stationary baler, so I need loose, which is why I'm using the forage wagon. So it looks like you just back up like that, and we could just dump this in. And so as you can see, it's going to fill up the back here, and it's going to take that grass straight into that bale and start making that bale there. And are we still unloading? Yeah, there we go. Everything is unloaded, I believe. So let's see what's happening over here. So this is a sugar beet cut, because even though it was majority grass, it started as a sugar beet cut bale, and that's what it ended at, even though there's only 700 liters in there. And then this has got grass that is taken in there, leaving 1,200 liters out. So I need to take this front loader, why did I turn the engine off, and get this sugar beet cut out of the way. So it looks like whatever was in there is what it's going to be, because that was only 700 liters and it was mainly grass, as you just saw. That would make this bale here grass that is fermenting and will eventually be silage. So we're going to take this and put it down with the silage, which now we have 26 bales of. So again, works the same for grass as it does for chaff. Just obviously chaff comes from corn and the grass comes from mowing. Lots of different ways to mow, and we'll cover that in some of the other videos, but just wanted to show some of the other things. I have not tried straw or hay, but I imagine they just bale them and don't wrap them, which is fine. So this is our grass one. These ones, as you can see, say chaff. And then here is our, now I can shut this off. So let's get back to this. So we have 0 grass in the back of this. I don't intend to mow my fields up here. I just happened to mow them because I wanted to see. Thread that needle. All right, so let me show you how to store these, because storage is an issue. As you can see, this is a very hilly chunk of land that I purchased. I just went to, there was only 2 sugar beet fields on the map. The other one was on the top of that hill. It was even hillier, so I decided to use this one here. But as I unloaded my first 24 chaff bales over here, they started rolling everywhere. And I thought that was kind of the flattest area of land I had. So I want to talk a little bit about storage and the best way to store these bales. So what I did is there's a mod that's available on console here, which is a pallet and bale storage mod, and it's only $10,000, and it can store up to 250 bales or pallets if you want to do like vegetables or wool from your sheep or whatever you're doing up there. So again, I had a very hilly piece of land, so it cost me about $30,000 just to level this piece of land enough that we could put this bale storage mod on here. So obviously when I stacked those chaff bales that were silage down at the bottom, they got all over the place, and I don't really like how that looks. So this is a great alternative. Obviously I got to find that sweet spot where it is level with the road here. And in a normal map, obviously I wouldn't put this here. This is just where the sugar beets happen to be on the new map that I spawned. So I'm just making do with what I can. But then you can unload your bales straight into that area that's marked with the yellow and black. And as you'll see, they'll start disappearing and then basically fall into the storage area there. And then that will store them for us nice and neat, and doesn't have any of the physics issues that the pile at the bottom of the hill has. So I prefer to do something like this. And again, this is a really great mod. Let me just get out and show you. There's two buildings that comes with it. This one that's got the green walls and one that has like a nice wooden finish as well. And again, it's storing 48 out of 250. So I've done 2 full loads here. And then if you need to get them back out, you just come down here and go, I need 25 bales. 25 must be the max. I'm going to just do 24 because that's what we loaded in. And it's got sugar beet cut. And if you had different bales in there, like if I had put my chaff in here, it would say that, and you can just alternate between those, but you just hit start and then bang, it dumps them out for you. So right on the outside of the line, so you can come in here and pick them up. My raised platform here isn't ideal for picking up with this baler, but that's neither here nor there. And then obviously if you don't want them out, you can just, nope, well, that's because I already disconnected. Anyway, you could just back into them, or you can just use your tractor with your bucket or your front loader or whatever and just kind of knock them back in so that they get auto loaded again into the storage. And so this is how I prefer to store them until it's time to sell them. And then we will deal with trying to get them loaded up onto that thing some other time off camera if I decide I want to keep playing this map. Because again, this was just mainly for testing out the new baler, but I spent 3 hours harvesting the sugar beets, so now I'm tempted to actually play this map and see. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was what you do with sugar beet cut. So one of the things, let me see here. And so again, tons and tons of sugar beets. I got a giant pile on the ground there. I've got these 2 tippers that are full as well. And then I've got 48 bales that are wrapped already and stored. So one of the things you can do is essentially, if you're selling these, let me go to the price. Number one, in production, and I think I showed this in another video, but I don't have any production sites and I don't have the money to buy it. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. If you go to the sugar factory, essentially you get normally 2 sugar beets equals 1 unit of sugar. In this setup, it's actually 2. If you do sugar beet cut, you're going to get 3 for 5. So you get a little bit better of a deal on the sugar beet cut than you do on the sugar beets. Also, the price is different. So here we've got sugar beets selling for $265, $261, and it kind of maxes out here in the November-December timeframe, which is where we are now. Sugar beet cuts actually are selling for $363. So by processing them myself with this bucket, I am making about 40% more just by cutting them up and baling them. So this is why you'd want to do this. And this price actually maxes out in January, so next month, around the 370s. I'm already getting 363. So hopefully I can get the rest of this scooped up and processed, and then I can run it down and turn it in from there. So again, that's how you would sort of set up a production chain here. You can cut it into a tipper. You can cut it straight into the actual baler here. And I showed you grass as well, and then the chaff is down there that's fermenting. So we have kind of a little bit of everything going here for that. So just wanted to give you a little bit more of a deep dive and just talk about all the different things you can do with one of these stationary balers. I think it's really cool. I haven't done a lot of sugar beets in the past, and I don't know that I'm actually going to start doing a lot more sugar beets, but I just wanted to kind of see how this worked. I think the thing I'm going to use it for most is, again, TMR, probably on the Riverview Cow series that I'm doing. But it's got a lot of interesting uses. So you could also set this up just to do mowing and silage. And this would be an interesting way to do it with a forage harvester, or excuse me, with a forage wagon, rather than having to bale it yourself. So lots of different options available there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and drop a comment. Let me know what else you might want to see for this LT Master F115 or the Vero V140, or if there's any other piece of equipment you want me to review from the new pack. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.